Hello YouTube, welcome to new synth anatomy video. Today I give you an overview of the new Pioneer TORAIZ AS-1 synthesizer. The AS-1 is driven by a true analog synthesis engine based on the Dave Smith Instruments Prophet 6. It comes with all the same features of the big brother, but only in monophonic. It comes also with 7 onboard effects from the Prophet 6 and a brand new digital distortion. Before I check the backside of the AS-1, a very short sound demo to animate this overview a bit. Let's turn the device to the backside and check the connection possibilities. On the left side you can find a Kensington lock, a stereophone output for your headphones, 2 mono left and right outputs, and a trigger in for the external gear. What is well done here, the AS-1 has 2 stereo ways, so you can hear directly in your headphones and route the audio directly in stereo to a recording system. That's well done by Pioneer, because many mono synthesizers comes only with a phone's stereo output and one mono output like the Monologue from Korg. Further, there is full MIDI support for MIDI out, through and MIDI in. For users who are interested in MIDI CC operations, the AS-1 is full compatible with MIDI control changes and program changes. Then on the right side you have also the USB port where you can connect the synth to your PC or Mac and enables the functionalities of a free software editor. Not to forget, the USB gives you sync possibilities with your other devices. Last but not least, you find the DC in for the power supply and an on-off switch for the power. The AS-1 is in this way not so portable as the Monologue from Korg, for example, because it requires the power supply and doesn't support batteries. Before I switch back to the main part, some more sounds from the AS-1 synthesizer. Back on the main area of the AS-1, where you can find all the main controls to jam around with this analog synthesizer. On the top left you find the shift and global buttons for the activity inside the menu. Beside these buttons you find the program knob, which allows to step through different sound banks and presets. Very intuitive and easy done in my opinion. With the parameter knob beside the program knob, you can select each individual synthesis or FX parameter. In the middle you have a very shiny and excellent to read off OLED display where you get all the information about your patch. Right from the display you have the value knob, which is essential if you want to change parameters of the engine. This knob gives you the possibility to program new sounds or only to adjust them. On the complete right side you have also a volume knob for adjusting the power of your output. What I describe as the performance section of the AS-1 you can find under the OLED display. On the complete left side you have a touch enabled slider with a latch button. The slider serves in the AS-1 the same function as a classical pitch or mod wheel in a synthesizer. What is great here that the slider is customizable for each patch. So for example you can map the cutoff of the low pass or high pass filter to the slider or even the FX mix. For changing this in your patch, you must jump to the slider destination inside the menu. For me it's an excellent feature for live jams and performances. With the latch button you can hold the position of the slider, press it for activating it and press it again to stop it. Then in the middle you'll find the main core of this performance section. On the front panel you have access to 6 synth parameters and also to the FX section. On the left side you have 2 knobs for the control of the cutoff and resonance of the low pass filter. The AS-1 features a 4-pole resonant low pass filter that can self-oscillate. Then you have beside the low pass filter also a knob to control the cutoff of the high pass filter, which is a 2-pole resonant filter in this case. Then on the right side you have access to the envelopes with an attack and decay release knob. Both knobs influence directly the envelopes of the filter and of the amp. I see in this design a bit a negative point, but it's a point that can be adjusted with a firmware update. I would love to see an option to control directly the filter envelopes and amp envelopes individually on the front panel without diving in the menu. It would be possible for me if they make it with the shift button. This gives some more jam options in my opinion. Further you have the LFO knob, where you can adjust the frequency of the LFO of your patch in real time, and also with the switch button you can adjust the amount of the LFO. During my tests I used this knob very rare. On the right side you have for me an amazing feature of the AS-1, a FX on and off button. To be honest, many synthesizers comes today with tons of effects processing on it, and you can hear the real synthesis quality of your patch. Okay, this patch with FX sounds great, but if you love to tweak these analog sounds, I prefer to turn off first the FX sections and I can turn it on again after when I want. Great job here from Pioneer DJ and Dave Smith to include this feature in the AS-1 synthesizer. Before we jump to my play area of the synthesizer, one more sound break. On the play section you have 2 buttons on the left side for octave down and up. By pressing shift you can also go down and up in semitones. Then you have the sequencer part where you have a record and play button. Also here allows the shift button an additional feature for the play button. You can here lock the sequence while holding the shift button and pressing the play button. Great is here the way how you can program a sequence in the AS-1. Just press record and play your notes in. When you press the hold button, you can activate a tight inside your sequence, and with the up button you can put a rest in it. In total you can program 64 steps in the step sequencer. For me personally, it's a clever designed and easy to use sequencer. For all questions how much sequences you can save inside the device, inside one project you can save up to 495 sequence patterns in the 5 user banks. So you have a massive amount of place for your own creations. On top, with each sequence several parameters will be saved, so pitch per step, velocity per step, slew on/off per step, and the number of the steps. Further, we have an ARP section where you can find a button for activate it and hold it. If you dive in the menu section or in the PC and Mac editor, you can choose between different ARP styles. Then right beside the ARP you find the BPM knob to control the tempo range, which goes from 30 up to 250 BPM. And as final you have on the right side a tap tempo button, and if you press now switch you can restart also the sequence with the same button. On the bottom of the device we don't have a classical keyboard, but a 13 keys touchpad that enables users to play also with 22 different scales. I think the front panel and the backside panel informations are done now. And before we jump deeper inside the synthesis features, another little sound break. Time to dive in deeper in the synthesis of the AS-1 synthesizer. I will take here the editor to show you more clear the structure. The engine includes 2 voltage controlled continually variable oscillators, best known from the Prophet 6. Each oscillator includes a frequency parameter which goes from C0 to C5, and oscillator 1 includes also a sync button. The starting point for each oscillator is a saw wave. Then from this point you can shape the saw wave to the left to a triangle wave and to the right to a pulse wave. Oscillator 2 comes also with a fine-tune feature, can be also used in low frequency mode, and you can activate a key follow. Also each oscillator includes pulse width modulation. Then you have for the oscillators the Dave Smith slope feature, which allows the oscillators to drift out of tune a bit from time to time. This emulates a bit the feeling of old analog synthesizers. Also signals goes then to a mixer, where you can find a sub-level to make the oscillator even fatter, and a noise generator. This complete sound block goes then to a 4-pole low-pass filter, which can self-oscillate, and to a 2-pole high-pass filter. Each filter includes an envelope amount knob and a button to activate the velocity. Also there is a possibility to change the key amount, routing to full or half. Then we have a full ADSR for the filter and amplifier. The amplifier envelope allows also to route velocity to the envelope amount. Then we have the modulation section, where you can route the oscillator 2 in the low frequency mode to a specific destination of oscillator 1, like the frequency 1, the shape 1 or the pulse width modulation. You can also route it to the low pass or high pass filter. On the bottom you have the LFO with the standard two knobs for the frequency and the amount. You can choose here between 5 different types of LFOs, and you can sync it also. Then you can also route the LFO to different destinations. The AS-1 synthesizer comes also with aftertouch support. Here you can route also this feature to several parameters, including the filter or the LFO amount. You can adjust the amount of it with the aftertouch amount parameter. One of the cool features of the AS-1 is the slider on the left side, that you can map with one or more parameters at once. For example, you can map the low pass filter and the FX1 mix to the slider. And if you play now with the slider, you can control with the slider both parameters at once. Further, you can choose between different glide parameters also. For adding something special to your sounds, the AS-1 includes two effect slots. In effect slot number 1, you find a BBD delay, a distortion and a ring mod. Each effect includes 3 different settings to adjust. For example, for the BB delay you have a mix, the delay time and the feedback as parameters. In the second effect you get a chorus and 3 different phaser effects. One of the main big features of the AS-1 is the performance ARP and the sequencer. Inside the ARP settings you can change the octave range and you can choose between 5 different directions. Coming now to the sequencer. There are 2 ways to work with the step sequencer. Either you program it inside the hardware, or you switch to the free editor. For me personal, I prefer the editor over the hardware, because you have a better overview of your programmed sequences. As already said before, you can program up to 64 steps in the sequencer. For each step you can program also the velocity, tie and slew. I hope you understand the concept of the AS-1 synthesizer. I have it now already 2 weeks in my room, and I must say that I'm impressed how great this machine is. After the sampler drum machine I can say that Pioneer DJ can create also synths, and it's a good decision from them to make it together with the synth makers of Dave Smith instruments. I will try to create more videos about the synthesizer in future, and also to release as soon as possible my review about the Pioneer DJ AS-1 synthesizer. Please leave a comment in the video if you have another question about the AS-1. I will try to answer it as soon as possible. Please support the Synth Anatomy blog and YouTube channel by using our partner links. And as usual, if you like this video, please leave a positive thumb and a subscription for more future videos. Big thanks for your continued support, and I hope to see you again in one of my next videos. Bye!